Welcome back to I Watched All of Formula 1 so you don't have to. Today we are starting the 1951 Formula 1 season, starting off with the 1951 Swiss Grand Prix. So the 1951 Swiss Grand Prix, as per last year, of course took place on the Circuit Bremgarten, which is a street circuit, if you're unfamiliar. Same map as last year, so identical circuit, and it took place on the 27th of May 1951. And unless I'm misremembering, that's like almost 6 months since the end of the 1951 Formula 1 season, so a much longer break than they get today. And as was the same as 1950, this is round 1 of 7 total rounds, so we'll be covering all of those races over the next few weeks. Before I get into it as well, I am still working on that 1950, I watched all of the 1950 Formula 1 season so you don't have to, where I'm going to compile all of the videos into one video, so stay tuned for that. And yeah, so it took place in Bern, in Switzerland, I want to say, but I might be wrong. And yeah, we've got some photos of the track again, identical track to last year, the 90. I think I used that photo by accident last year, but yeah, it was a rainy race, so spoilers, but yeah, the race overall was contested over 42 laps of the Bremgarten circuit, with it also being the opening race of this season. The race was the 11th time that the Swiss Grand Prix was held, with all of the races being held at Bremgarten. So yeah, let's get into qualifying. So to start off, we have 3 entirely different photos than we did in the previous video or in the previous season. So I'll let you try to figure out who's who. And yeah, let's get into qualifying. So, Juan Manuel Fangio would claim pole for this race, followed by Nino Farina, Luigi Villoresi, Consalvo Sanesi, Tullio de Graffenried, Piero Taruffi, Alberto Ascari, Luis Rosier, Peter Whitehead, and finishing out the top 10, Rudi Wischer. So very similar to last year, it's just the Alfas, the Ferraris, and the Talbot Lagos. Though I do believe there was quite the significant amount of entrances, not all of them attended, with unfortunately 21 to like 25, or that might be 26 to 26 not attending the race, which is unfortunate for them. So before we get into the race, I quickly want to discuss that this specific Grand Prix, the Swiss Grand Prix, was the first event of the 1951 World Championship due to the absence of Monaco from the calendar. So there's no Monaco Grand Prix in this season. And yeah, ultimately the highest non-Alfa Romeo qualifier was Ferrari's Luigi Villoresi, who was alongside Fangio and Farina on the front row of the grid, which it was a 3-4-3 setup back in the day. And the race ultimately would take place in the rain, with Fangio initially leading from Farina, as we'll now get into the race, with Ferrari's Piero Taruffi also challenging for the lead, having started from 6th on the grid. Fangio would ultimately pit, handing Nino Farina the lead for the 24th lap on the 24th lap of the race. However, Farina's decision not to make a pit stop did not ultimately pay off, as Fangio was able to retake the lead on lap 29 just 5 laps later. Fangio would maintain the lead for the remainder of the race, eventually winning by nearly a minute from Taruffi, who had overtaken Farina on the penultimate lap. This was Taruffi's first podium in just his 2nd championship race. The remaining Alfa Romeo drivers, Consalvo Sanesi and Tullio de Graffenried, completed the points-paying positions ahead of the Ferrari's Alberto Ascari, who completed despite suffering burns from the previous weekend's Formula 2 race in Genoa, which is unfortunate for him. I'm sorry to hear that happened. Sterling Moss, driving for HWM, would finish in 7th, though ultimately he ran out of fuel on the final lap, therefore yielding the position to Luis Chiron, who was driving a Maserati for Enrico Plate. Consalvo Sanesi qualified and drove 41 laps of the race in the number 28 Alfa Romeo. Gianbattista Guidotto, named substitute driver for the car, was ultimately not used. And ultimately Fangio won the race, followed by Piero Taruffi, Nino Farina, Consalvo Sanesi, and Tullio de Graffenried. Important to note that Piero Taruffi started in 6th, so an extremely impressive result for him in the Ferrari. This will be followed by Alberto Ascari, Luis Chiron, Sterling Moss, Luis Rosier, and Philippe Etoncelin to round out the top 10. Only the top 5 actually earned any points from this race. And yeah, overall, let's talk about the championship standings. In first place with 9 points is Juan Manuel Fangio, followed by Piero Taruffi, Nino Farina, Consalvo Sanesi, and Tullio de Graffenried, which is pretty much because this is the first race, the points that they finished in. And the next race will be the 1951 Indianapolis 500, which again should be a unique race in comparison to the rest that we will cover. So yeah, that's it. So that was the 1951 Swiss Grand Prix. Sorry, this was a shorter video, but thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you liked it, make sure to like, subscribe, and all the other YouTube stuff. Stay tuned for next week's episode of I Watched All of Formula 1 So You Don't Have To. I will be also covering This Week in Formula 1 next Monday, so stay tuned for that. And overall, I hope you have a great, wonderful day. So bye for now. Peace.